The night was heavy. Chicago's air smelled of metal and rain. Somewhere in the South Side, sirens screamed, long before anyone called for help. 18-year-old Jalen Carter was walking home. A hoodie, headphones, tired eyes. His mother, Renee, watched from the porch, waving him in before the rain came. He smiled. That small, bright kind of smile that only sons give to their mothers. Then lights. Red and blue. Tires screeching. The sound of authority ripping through the calm. A police cruiser stopped beside him. 2 officers. Orders barked. Hands up. Jalen froze. He did what they said. Both hands visible. He said, "I live right there." He pointed toward his mother. Then a flash. A gunshot. The world went silent. Renee screamed before the echo died. Her son, her only child, was already gone. The officer's hands shook. He said it was an accident. He said Jalen reached for something. He said a lot of things no one believed. But when the sirens wailed again, they weren't for Jalen. They were for them, to cover what came next. The next morning, the story broke. Officer involved shooting, they said. Suspect acted aggressively. A suspect. Not a son. Renee's porch became a battlefield. Reporters, neighbors, police tape. Everyone wanted her pain on camera. No one wanted her truth. She begged for answers. The police chief promised a full investigation. They handed her paperwork instead of compassion. She couldn't eat. Couldn't sleep. Couldn't stop hearing that sound, the one that ripped her world in half. A strange silence fell over their block. No reporters. No sirens. Just the hum of a city trying to forget. Until that morning. A call came in at 6:47 a.m. A man was found dead, in his own yard. Officer Darren Cole. The same man who shot Jalen. A single bullet wound. No witnesses. No camera footage. Only a storm the night before, and footprints leading nowhere. They came for her before sunrise. Knocking became pounding. Then shouting. Then breaking. Renee opened the door, still in her robe. Her eyes hollow, her voice soft. She didn't resist when they cuffed her. The officer whispered, "You shouldn't have done it." She looked up, her face still wet from tears. Her voice cracked like dry earth. "I didn't." But no one listened. They painted her as angry. Unstable. A grieving mother. Seeking revenge. They said her fingerprints were found on a bullet casing. They said she had motive. They said she snapped. Her lawyer was young, too unsure. The evidence? Thin. But in a city tired of tension, thin was enough. Every headline fed the story. Every anchor repeated her name. Every neighbor whispered. The courtroom felt colder than the night Jalen died. When the verdict came, she didn't blink. Guilty. She just whispered. He didn't even get to graduate. Days became numbers. Numbers became years. Renee watched life through metal bars and narrow light. She spoke to Jalen every night. Not in prayer. In conversation. As if he could hear her. Sometimes, she thought she could hear him back. A laugh in her dreams. A warmth in her chest when she almost forgot how to feel. But something inside her refused to break. Something stronger than the walls. A mother's certainty. She didn't kill anyone. But someone did. 5 years later, a law student came to interview her. A woman named Naomi Wells. Bright, bold, and suspicious of every line in Renee's file. Naomi asked questions no one ever asked. Why were the officers' body cam files missing? Why were police logs edited? Why did the bullet casing have 2 sets of prints, not one? Renee's voice trembled. Because they needed someone to pay. Naomi took notes. Her hands shook, but not from fear, from anger. That night, Naomi read the reports again. There was a timestamp missing from the surveillance footage. A 22-minute gap. Deleted. Erased. A retired officer contacted her. No name. No face. Just a voice on the phone. He said, You're digging into something that wasn't meant to be found, Naomi asked. What are you afraid of? Silence. Then, it wasn't her. It was one of us. Click. Naomi's breath caught. One of them. That night, she opened a folder she wasn't supposed to have. Inside, screenshots, still frames, a log marked deleted, confidential. A body cam file. Timestamp, 22 minutes after Jalen's death. Audio only. The officer's voice, frantic, broken. I didn't mean to, he pulled his gun, oh God. But it wasn't Darren Cole's voice. It was someone else. Naomi's heart stopped. If this was true, Renee had been sitting in prison for someone else's mistake. When Naomi looked up, the rain started again, same sound as the night Jalen died. The sirens outside the prison echoed faintly in the distance. And somewhere, deep inside, Renee Carter whispered, the truth is still out there. In Chicago, justice doesn't die in the dark. It just waits for the sirens to fade. Prison quiet isn't peace. It's the hum of lights that never sleep. The clank of metal doors pretending to mean order. For Renee Carter, 5 years of that hum had eaten through time itself. She woke before dawn every day. Folded her blanket with precision. Whispered her son's name into her hands. Jalen, they still don't see you. Outside, Chicago kept moving. Inside, she waited for something, anything, that still felt like truth. On a Thursday drenched in gray, Naomi Wells came back. The young law student was thinner now, eyes red from nights spent scrolling through files that didn't add up. She slid into the visiting booth, placed a folder on the glass. Renee lifted the phone. Tell me you found something. Naomi hesitated. I found someone. A pause heavy enough to bend air. Naomi leaned forward. An officer named Reed Mathers. He was Cole's partner that night. Renee blinked. He testified Cole fired the shot. Naomi nodded slowly. Except the body cam audio I recovered, it's his voice panicking after the shooting. A beat. He said I didn't mean to, he pulled his gun, oh God. Renee's breath left her body. For the first time in years, her eyes filled not with tears, but with fire. They framed me to save him. Naomi pressed her palm against the glass. I'm not stopping until we prove it. That night, rain swept through the south side again. Old graffiti on brick walls blurred into streaks. The news spoke of politics and storms, not of women forgotten behind bars. Naomi walked past the shuttered diner where Jalen used to eat fries after basketball games. A waitress recognized his photo. Sweet kid, she said. Cops came here that night. Told us not to talk. Naomi froze. What time? Right after midnight. They took the security tape. That tape had never been logged in evidence. Another hole. Another silence. Naomi dug deeper. Court transcripts. Radio dispatch logs. Chain of custody slips written in shaky pen. In one margin, she found a signature scratched out. Reed Mathers. Replaced by another name, Sergeant D. Cole. He had signed for both. He had buried his partner's guilt and died with it. Naomi printed every sheet, lined them on her wall like ghosts. Each page whispered the same story, the wrong woman. The right cover-up. Renee's cellmate, Maya, had been watching. You're different this week, she said. Renee smiled faintly. Someone believes me. At lights out, Maya whispered. They all say that. Then they forget. Renee turned toward the wall. Not this one. 2 days later, Naomi received a package with no return address. Inside, a USB drive, a single line written on masking tape. For truth. She plugged it in. Audio crackled. 2 men arguing. We can't just leave him. It's done. He reached. They'll believe us. What about his mother? We'll pin it on her if we have to. Her hands trembled. The timestamp, 2 a.m., 2 hours after Cole's death. Naomi's heart raced. This was evidence, real, undeniable. She didn't sleep that night. And by morning, someone else knew. A black sedan followed her to the university parking lot. A note under her windshield wiper. Stop digging. Some sirens should stay silent. She tore it up. Her voice shook, but her purpose didn't. If they're scared, she whispered, I'm close. Naomi filed an appeal on Renee's behalf. A request for retrial based on withheld digital evidence. The judge declined. Insufficient verification. Doors slammed. But the story had already started to leak. A journalist at the Tribune called Naomi back. You got something bigger than a retrial, he said. You've got a storm. He promised to publish. But the night before his article dropped, his editor pulled it. Legal pressure, he said. Then he hung up. Weeks later, Naomi received another call. A man, voice hushed. This is Detective Mendoza. Mathers retired last year. He's off-grid. A pause. But I can tell you where he hides when the guilt eats him. He gave her an address, an abandoned fishing cabin near Calumet River. Rain again. Always rain. Naomi parked near the cabin. Her phone recorded audio quietly in her pocket. Inside, a single lamp burned. Reed Mathers sat with a bottle in his hand, eyes sunken, fingers shaking. You're Naomi Wells, he said before she spoke. Yeah. You found the tape. She nodded. I heard you that night. He looked away. I was supposed to protect him. Cole panicked. The kid, he didn't do anything. Naomi's breath hitched. Then why frame his mother? Orders, Mathers whispered. They said we needed to calm the streets. Give the city a name. Any name. He stared at his trembling hands. I did what they told me. Then Cole started drinking. Talking. I thought he'd confess. Then he... His voice cracked. He didn't kill himself, did he? Mathers didn't answer. He slid a small flash drive across the table. Everything you need. Body cam. Reports. Names. Naomi whispered. I'll make it right. Mathers smiled, weak, broken. Then I can finally sleep. Naomi drove straight to the city. Her car was silent except for the rain against glass. Every few seconds she replayed Mathers's words in her head. She uploaded the files to 3 locations. Sent copies to the Tribune, a federal investigator, and a local advocacy group. That night, as the storm raged, the internet exploded. Hashtag #FreeRenee trended. Bodycam footage surfaced, grainy but damning. The truth was out. But truth comes with noise. The police department denied everything. The city attorney called it manipulated content. And Naomi? She received another note. You think the sirens fade? They don't. They hunt. Renee heard the news from another inmate. Girl, they talking about you on TV. She turned toward the tiny screen in the corner. Her son's photo. Naomi's voice. Headlines flashing. New evidence in Carter case. Renee covered her mouth. Her knees buckled. Maya held her up. She did it, Renee whispered. She really did it. For days the prison buzzed. Guards whispered. Reporters camped outside. The hum that had filled Renee's world for 5 years grew louder, no longer silence, but possibility. Then, one morning, footsteps approached her cell. A warden with trembling hands. Carter, pack your things. You've got a hearing. Renee froze. After so long, the words didn't sound real. The warden repeated softly. Maybe the noise is finally being heard. A slow pull from Renee's face as she touches the wall where she used to whisper her son's name. Rain falls again, soft, forgiving, endless. Sometimes justice isn't found in silence. It's born from the noise that refuses to die. They brought her out in chains. Not because they had to, but because that's how the system worked. The same cuffs that took her freedom now glinted under courthouse lights. It had been 5 years, 4 months, 19 days. Renee Carter walked into the hearing room like a ghost returning to her own story. Across the aisle sat Naomi Wells, exhausted, eyes burning with hope and fear all at once. She'd done everything, filed appeals, sent evidence to federal offices, fought until her hands bled from typing. And today might finally be the day. The judge adjusted his glasses. The room was packed, reporters, activists, strangers holding signs. Justice for Jalen. Free Renee. The air buzzed like a live wire. Naomi stood. Your Honor, this evidence was suppressed, intentionally or through gross negligence. The video clearly shows Officer Reed Mathers discharging his weapon, not Officer Cole. My client was framed to silence public outrage. A pause. The sound of pens scratching. A whisper from the gallery. Lord, please. The prosecutor rose. Your Honor, this so-called footage is unreliable. Naomi slammed a folder on the table. Then explain why every file, every report, every timestamp was edited under the same supervisor's login, the same night Officer Cole died. Silence. The kind that makes truth visible. Then the door opened. A man entered slowly, leaning on a cane. Reed Mathers. The courtroom gasped. He was pale, trembling, but alive. He took the stand. I can't keep this anymore, he said. I shot the boy. Not Cole. Whispers rippled through the room. He continued, voice breaking. Cole tried to stop me. He said we had to tell the truth. But the department told us to bury it. They said blame the mother, calm the riots. I signed what they told me to sign. The prosecutor tried to object. The judge raised his hand. Let him finish. Mathers looked at Renee. I'm sorry. Tears rolled down his face. I see him every night. I hear her screaming. I can't live with it anymore. Renee sat still. Her lips parted, but no words came. Just a long, trembling exhale, the sound of years collapsing. The judge leaned forward. Based on the new evidence, the recanted testimony, and clear misconduct by investigating officers. He paused, his voice thick. This conviction is vacated. Mrs. Carter, you are free. The words floated in the air like a prayer. Renee didn't stand at first. Her body had forgotten how to move without chains. Naomi rushed forward, tears streaming. You're free, Renee. It's over. Renee whispered. It's not over. Not yet. Outside, the city looked the same, gray skies, busy streets, the sound of sirens in the distance. But to Renee, everything felt slower. Every breath heavier. Every sound sharper. She visited Jalen's grave that evening. Brought him sunflowers, his favorite. Laid them gently against the stone. She knelt. Baby, they finally heard us. Her voice cracked. I thought I'd never see this day. But you made it happen. A breeze swept through the cemetery. Soft, warm, familiar. The leaves rustled like footsteps. Renee closed her eyes. And for a heartbeat, she swore she heard his laugh again. Naomi's story ran the next week. Headlines across the country. Wrongfully convicted mother freed after 5 years. Bodycam footage exposes corruption. Protests reignited. Reforms were promised. But the system remained slow, heavy, cautious, as if afraid of its own reflection. Naomi spoke at universities, telling Renee's story as a lesson, not of pain, but of endurance. She'd always end the talk the same way. Justice isn't born from power. It's born from someone refusing to stop. Renee opened a small nonprofit on the south side. Jalen's House. A community center for kids, a place to study, play, stay safe from the noise of the streets. She painted the front door yellow. Because, she said, yellow feels like hope. On opening day, she stood before the crowd. I used to think the sirens meant safety, she said softly. But they also meant endings. Fear. Silence. Now I want them to mean something else, beginnings. The crowd clapped. Some cried. And for the first time in years, Renee smiled without breaking. When the sirens fade, some wounds never close. But in their quiet, we find the strength to speak. And sometimes, that's enough to change the world.